we
think
can deliberate.
I think possibly we should have, a discussion put on the agenda about minutes, because I don't want to sit here and just say what I just said and assume that we're going forth that way. This is my opinion, but I would like to have the board discuss it, because I watched the council go through this over a course of many meetings, and they evolved to something that I think is pretty good. But it wasn't just one person saying one thing. They did have to discuss it, and they actually went to verbatim for the whole meeting and realized how impossible that was. And then they kind of backed down from there to where they are now. And I think it's a really good model. As being a person that speaks at public input at town council, I'm very satisfied when I read the minutes that whatever I said was accurately reflected. And I would hope that we could do that here, so that people that come forward don't feel that they're mischaracterized.
So we'll add this to we'll have an agenda item for discussion of minutes.
That would be satisfactory to me.
We're gonna add it to our packets so we can, for the next meeting, so we can review it. I haven't read it.
Go back and change the minutes.
Yeah,
Is it an agenda item?
No.
No, it's part
I'll
of,
say minutes. Well, it's discussion of minutes. I mean, Dave requested that we add that to the
we
agenda.
used to have under new business, an item where we answered questions from public input. So that's where we would answer his question to us, because I haven't read that.
We will deliberate
We will,
as part of that.
we will
yeah.
deliberate and answer that question, but then under our discussion about, we're gonna add a discussion about minutes.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, I don't know if public input's still ongoing, but I don't know if I'm going to be here 2 weeks from now, and I'm also traveling again next week. So if I may address the board again one more time about my perspective of it.
But we're beyond
Okay.
public input at this point.
I'm traveling once again next week, and so once again, you're going to be talking about my public input, and I won't be here to address it. If you, 3 minutes of your time.
We can put it off to the next meeting if you like.
I just want to clarify what all of this is all about, without all the drama involved. Okay, because
Right.
I'm not making any personal admonishments to the board.
Again, we've closed it, but
Well, then you opened up and talking about me again. So I thought I'd at least address it for 3 minutes.
well, we're talking about the document you presented and minutes. It's going to be on the next agenda.
Now, if we answer someone's question and they're not here to hear the answer, do we send them a letter with the answer to their
Well,
question?
it'll be in the minutes.
I just fear we spend more time, talking about this than if we had just let him speak. And I think this is part of the problem that kind of puts us off with the public.
I haven't read it, so we're going to be talking about it. But if it's the will of the board to let him speak, then
And I
It
want
has
to
to
have
be
a
unanimous.
discussion about the minutes too. I don't think that's appropriate right now, maybe. I don't know about the minutes itself,
I just wanted everyone to have an opportunity. Not trying to stop any discussion, but I have looked at it. But again, if it's the will of the board,
I would allow him to speak, but it's going to take unanimous consensus, and I don't think we have that. So I'm just making my point that I think an efficiency of the board sometimes, if we just dealt with these items when people are here, that we may gain a greater respect from the community as far as being able to deal with their problems in a quick and efficient manner. And I know we can't always do that, but I think at 9:15, giving 3 minutes to somebody that's here and not going to be here next week, I don't think that's unreasonable. But as you said, it's the will of the board. Thank you.
I'm fine if he wants to approach with anything new, but I do think I understand what his concerns are. I think they were expressed, and I think David expressed them again. So unless he has anything new to add to that, I think public input is needed.
so you are against. So am I. So we'll add that to the packets. Okay, informational items, items for upcoming agendas. And because of the last two meetings, they've been pretty specific. We had the forum, of course, and we knew we had to talk about the budget. I did throw a couple more. I get the agenda on usually Thursday from Kathy Richards to approve. But as far as these other items, I think we as a board need to talk about what we want to have on the next agenda. I wanted a running list so we knew where we were headed, but not that we can address every one of these at the next meeting, but I think we should build our agenda for the next meeting now, based on these or new items. So we have one item that we just added for minutes.
Well, my theory of the agenda would be that we basically put everything on. Because if we look at our code of conduct, it says at 2.5 hours, if we don't vote to extend, all items on the agenda are automatically forwarded to the next meeting. So actually, we don't even have to table them, and I don't think if we don't get to them, we even have to table them. I guess, I'm in favor, because if sometimes when you look at something, we don't know if it's a 5-minute discussion or a 1-hour discussion, and if we could get 2 of those 5-minute items done, maybe we can get rid of them. So I don't think if we have a large agenda, but if we have that understanding we may not get through it, we could still stop at a reasonable time. I guess the disadvantage is, like right now, we're at 10 minutes of 9, and there's a couple of those issues I'd like to talk about, but they're not on the agenda. And maybe we could either get started on them or get them done, but we really can't because we didn't put them on the agenda. So,
Well,
Because this meeting was focused on, we agreed to that at our last meeting, that this meeting was focused on budget, staff nominations, and standing committees, like we didn't think we'd get through it as quickly as we have.
yeah, I don't disagree with you. My reasoning was I would hate someone to come to a meeting thinking that, number 15 is going to be on the, be discussed, and we're not even going to get to it. But I'm fine
Well,
with
maybe
that.
somewhere in the middle of throwing a couple extra on or something. I just think that if we could address it, and sometimes some of these things, we might want to touch on them 1 week, and then really have to go home and think about it.
Yeah,
So,
I'm fine with it.
I'm not really in favor of the 2.5 hour limit anyway, as I said last week. So I'd like to pull through and keep going, but I'm one person.
Remember, all of these are policies that the board can change. So, we've got guidelines for public comment, that can all be changed. These are guidelines that were developed by other boards, and they're always open for discussion.
Can I ask for clarification? On the front page, it says audio, video of school board meetings, then it says email notification system, meeting configuration, and then on the top of the next page, it says school district emails for school board members. Are email notification and school district emails for school board members two different things, or are they the same thing?
If I can explain them, I have both put on. The idea of the email notification system is I would like to create an opt-in email system, which means somebody has to sign up for it, where that we could send notifications out through that email system. For instance, tonight when we decided that maybe we were looking for some parents for those high school positions, we would have a list to send to, pretty much like the PTA does, for information. Committees.
Wasn't sure.
Yeah, the other one is, I do feel that we should be being addressed with SAU 15 email addresses, so that we go through the system and are part of the right to know system. Because currently, if I email you as a school board member, the public can't discover that. And theoretically, they should be able to under the right to know. So that was my second email
Okay,
issue.
I just didn't understand. Thank you.
So, are there any more?
Yeah, I'd like to put on the code of conduct, specifically the 2.5 hour automatic meeting stop. I think that sometimes it's not even, we don't think about it until we think about it anyway. I would, not to debate it now, but we can vote to adjourn when needed. So I just find that kind of not needed.
So the code of,
It's in the code of conduct. I think it's number 4 or something in
Yeah,
there?
it's on there, school board code of conduct is on the agenda, so.
Yeah, and that was the other one that that our public input policy there is kind of in conflict with the current public input policy. That's why I had put that one on there. I think we should rectify that, you know, kind of get our policy together there.
Okay.
That's really two different, well,
Yeah, there's 2 different
Public
items
input,
in
yeah.
the code of conduct.
Okay. Any others?
Not till we kind of get through the other, is enough.
Okay.
I would actually like to add public relations to the future agenda. It doesn't have to be next week, but I think our principals, like, to just put it on a principal, it's your job to do public relations. I have the utmost respect for what they do, but I think takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to tell everybody how great you are. And I think that everyone needs to be on board with that. I mean, I'm a parent who is very frequently in the school. For any number of reasons, I may need to speak to a principal, like, they're the hardest people in the world to talk to because they're busy. And I think to put that all on them is not fair.
Maybe we could combine that with the email list, because that is one of the functions I was foreseeing for the email list. If we had made AYP or some announcement that we wanted to put out, those are going to be concerned people that are interested, and, you know, we have a way to do that directly to them.
But I don't really mean it as to tell the people who are involved and in the know what's going on, because those people are going to know the things. I'm talking about people that have no idea what Hooks It is about or what Hooks It does. And I think the thing we do the least in Hooks It is talk about how good Hooks It is. Like, we're splattered all over the news at any given time about what we do wrong, but we really don't ever, there's not a lot of what we do good. You have to live here to know. You have to live here to know this is a very generous community. You have to live here to know that, you know, I can't even think of off the top of my head, you know, a great thing. And it's not just the Hooksett School District, but I can't fix the whole town, but I can assist with making, you know,
It's on the
the school
agenda.
district
I
better.
think it's a discussion that's well worth having, and I think we really need to look at the criteria, because we have to remember we are a political board, and we don't want to be political if we're doing public relations. And so I think, as I was going to propose with the email list, there has to be strict criteria about what it's used for, because it certainly shouldn't be used for political advantage or disadvantage or anything like that. So I
Yep.
think the same thing with public relations. I think it's worthy of an in-depth discussion.
I agree. Any other agenda items? I just wanted to add, you know, I think we all received tickets for the Once on This Island Colley Middle School production, April 5th and 6th. And we also, we all got invites tonight to the, should I say it correctly, the National Junior Honor Society induction ceremony at David R. Colley Middle School for April 11th, 2012.